Okay, every election season we are just flooded with polls, right? Candidate A is up, candidate B is slipping. We see these numbers everywhere. But what if the most important number in any poll is the one they almost never show you? Well, today we're going to dive past the headlines and find out what's really going on behind the numbers. You've seen a chart like this a million times. Looks pretty clear, doesn't it? Candidate B is ahead by 2 points. It seems like a tight but definite lead. The news anchors are talking about it, the campaigns are spinning it, but this simple picture is hiding something that changes the entire story. And here it is, the famous margin of error. In this case, it's plus or minus 3%. What does that mean? Well, it means candidate A's real support could be as high as 52%, and candidate B's could be as low as 48%. All of a sudden, it's not a lead at all. It's a statistical tie. But you know what? Even that isn't the full story. There's an even bigger problem hiding in the data.
Not even close. The margin of error, that plus or minus 3%, it only accounts for one kind of uncertainty. It's what statisticians call sampling error. But there's this other, much bigger, much messier issue lurking just beneath the surface.
And here is where it gets really wild. Take a recent, really high-profile New York Times/Siena College poll. To get the results, they made nearly 500,000 phone calls. 500,000! And out of all those calls, they only got about 4,000 people to actually complete the survey. Do the math on that. That's a response rate of just 1%. 1.
So the real question isn't just about the small number. It's about who that 1% actually is. Are the people who take the time to answer a random phone call from a pollster the same as the 99% who just hang up? Probably not. This is what's called non-response bias, and many experts will tell you it's the single biggest cause of polling errors today.
So what's a pollster to do? They can't exactly force people to answer their calls. Well, they turn to a statistical tool called weighting. You can think of it as their attempt to digitally fix a sample that they know is already broken or skewed right from the start.
Here's basically how it works. First, they look at who they actually managed to get on the phone. Let's say their sample has way too many older women and nowhere near enough young men. So, second, they compare their lopsided sample to solid data, like the US Census, to see what the country really looks like. And third, they apply a statistical weight. They basically turn up the volume on the voices of the few young men they did find and turn down the volume on the older women until their final result looks, demographically, like the country as a whole.
But here is the massive, and I mean massive, assumption at the heart of this whole thing. For weighting to work, you have to believe that the handful of young men who did answer the phone are perfect stand-ins for the thousands who didn't. You're assuming they think the same, vote the same, feel the same. Is that a safe bet? That is the multi-million-dollar question. And it turns out this statistical patch-up job isn't a free lunch. All of this adjusting and weighting, it comes with a hidden cost. There's a penalty you have to pay for messing with the data this much. And that penalty is measured by something called the design effect, or DEF for short. The easiest way to think about it is as an uncertainty multiplier. A perfect, clean, random poll would have a design effect of 1. But the more you have to weight your data, the higher that number goes. A design effect of 2 means all your adjustments have literally doubled the statistical uncertainty in your poll.
So what does that mean in the real world? It means we need to think about something called the effective sample size. This number tells you the true statistical power of your poll after all the fixes. You find it by taking the number of people you actually talked to and dividing it by that design effect number.
So check this out. A pollster can go on TV and say, "We interviewed 1,000 people." But if their aggressive weighting gives them a design effect of 2, their poll only has the statistical precision of a perfect random poll of 500 people. Those adjustments literally cut their sample's power in half. Okay, let's put all of these pieces together now. It's time to stop looking at just the margin of error and start seeing the entire picture of a poll's uncertainty. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like an iceberg.
That margin of error they report on the news, that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's the sampling error, the basic uncertainty you get from talking to 1,000 people instead of all 330 million. But the huge, hidden, and frankly dangerous part is everything below the water. That's the non-sampling error. That's all the uncertainty created by the 99% who don't respond, and all the statistical gymnastics of weighting used to fix it.
So let's just lay it out clearly. You've got 2 types of error. The sampling error, yes, that gets reported as the margin of error. But the non-sampling error,
The giant question mark that comes from who answers the phone and how the data is adjusted, that is almost never reported. And here's the kicker. It can, and often is, much, much larger than the error they actually tell you about.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This isn't some secret conspiracy theory. Polling experts have known this for years. As one major academic review from 2018 put it, the level of error has always been substantially beyond that implied by stated margins of error. The people who do this for a living know the reality.
So the next time you see a poll in the news showing a razor-thin race, I want you to remember that 1% response rate. Remember the weighting. Remember the iceberg. And ask yourself this. When a poll's real uncertainty is so much bigger than the number they report, aren't we long overdue for a new standard of transparency?